In this video today, we're going to be discussing the new season of Battlefield 2042 Season 6 and how Battlefield 2042 has been able to save themselves from the disaster that was the launch of this video game. But if you guys haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't done so already. But yeah, let's get into it. In Season 6, the new map called Redacted was released. This is the first map in almost 2 years that DICE has put a infantry-only map into this game. I never understood why it took so long for DICE to finally implement a map like this, especially since so much of their fan base fell in love with this franchise because of maps like these. Think of Operation Lockers or Metro or Grand Bazaar. Even though Grand Bazaar was light vehicle, it still had a heavy infantry focus. A lot of these maps that are legendary to a lot of these people that fell in love with the franchise, including myself, were maps that heavily focused on infantry combat, whether it be infantry only or even light vehicles. And that is part of the reason why I really enjoyed this map. I consider it probably my personal favorite in this game so far. It's the game that I just feel like fits to my playstyle and what I enjoy the most. I've always been more of an infantry player. I don't mind vehicle gameplay. I play every once in a while in a vehicle, but I'm an infantry player at heart. You can tell when they were making this map that they really thought out and wanted to make sure they didn't essentially create another Operation Metro or Operation Lockers. They didn't want to make it a meat grinder like those games were. They wanted to provide different routes and different flanks and different alleyways that you can take to kind of separate and kind of spread out the players, because as much as those games are loved, and I love those maps too, there is kind of an issue where, you know, it just becomes too much of a meat grinder to where you can't even do anything. And luckily, maybe you get a multi-kill with a grenade and you're able to kind of push forward a little bit and sneak to another thing. I always thought it'd be nice to at least give us some sort of way to kind of break free and kind of separate the front lines. And I think this map does a great job of doing that. I think this map was probably the first map of all the post content that I feel like was truly well designed. I think Conquest is the best way to play this map, and that's coming from somebody who plays almost entirely Breakthrough or Rush. Rush isn't bad, but Breakthrough is really tough to play. But Conquest on this map reminds me of Battlefield 1, where it's more linear, which is what I personally prefer more. When Conquest flags are kind of separated out, obviously it caters more towards the vehicle players, and almost every map in this game almost felt that way when you played Conquest. Obviously not all of them. They kind of help kind of structure the pathways and kind of flow of combat, but I think this is exactly what I was looking for. It really reminds me of Battlefield 1 and Conquest, and that was really the only game that I enjoyed Conquest in. Also, the details in this map. This is by far the most detailed map they've dropped for this game. From the bloodstains to the bits of destruction, the artwork, the everything, all the signs. There's just a lot more love that was put into this map than the other ones. The other ones just felt very empty and very blank, even in the reworks, which the reworks, yes, they were much improved and they were better, but they still, you know, this game, it was obviously tailored to be bigger in 428 players, which turned out to be a big, massive mistake and didn't really work out. I don't think people necessarily care for the amount of players that are in it. People want to feel like they can kind of make a difference more so. And I feel like 64 can kind of be that cap. And trying to put lipstick on something that was already ugly is not going to necessarily make it better. I haven't had the chance to try out the new guns, but from what everybody's saying and what I'm seeing, and I'm pretty close to unlocking it, it looks like a pretty decent gun and a great addition to the game. There's nothing worse than when they don't drop a gun and then it kind of sucks or it's not that great. But I'm really excited to see when this new event drops. They teased it at the beginning of this trailer of the season. We haven't seen it yet. It looks like it's going to be an infection type mode, almost like a Halloween-esque mode, but I'm a little surprised it hasn't came out yet because we are coming up on Halloween. As I'm recording right now, it's December 25th. So I don't know when exactly this is going to come out. It seems like possibly it got delayed and that they were anticipating it was going to be for like a Halloween type of thing, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Anyways, now that I feel like I've kind of gone over Season 6 and what I think about it, I do kind of want to do a brief discussion on what I think the game feels and what it's like, and kind of recap the past 2 years now that it's almost been 2 years since the game's dropped, minus a month. And overall, I think the game is in a solid state. As for the core gameplay loop, I think it's probably the best it's going to get. I think they've done everything they possibly can to make this game feel as much as a Battlefield game as possible, and kind of still have that fun element that everybody missed that wasn't really in it in the beginning of this game. I think they've been able to finally make this game feel like a Battlefield game at once. Obviously, the game still has its issues, and it probably always will. The maps were too big. Like a lot of the reworks, even like I mentioned earlier, they did a great job with the reworks, but at the end of the day, they're just, you can tell that just wasn't built for 64 players. They tried to do whatever they can, but it's still, they're still not great maps. They're better, yes, but they're going to be forgettable, and no one's going to be asking for them to come back. You still have the Specialist, which from all accounts and all the rumors that we're hearing, it looks like Specialist might be making a comeback, which I might get flamed for this, but I don't mind the Specialist as much now that they put him into classes. Doesn't necessarily bother me as much. It almost feels like gadgets. Would I rather just have gadgets? Yes. But it seems like they're going to put Specialist, but as long as they kind of work the Specialist to where it still fits in that class system, it's not going to bother me as much. They obviously didn't put enough fun game modes in this game. There was essentially, they've added no game modes to this game outside of like Rush, Breakthrough, Conquest. Really nothing else after that was really creative. And that's kind of like, I don't know if I'm the only one in this ballpark. I know some people just like, you know what, just give me the same thing over and over again. I'm not kind of in that thought process. Yes, I don't want you to stray too far away from what makes the formula of what people fell in love with, which is that Battlefield formula, but I do feel like you should still always try to push the envelope and push the franchise forward and innovate and stay ahead of the game. You don't even have to stay ahead of the game, but at least try to innovate the game to modernize it and find new ways to keep people entertained, because if they just stuck to Conquest and Breakthrough, you're gonna have some of those hardcore fans, but I think you're always gonna have a tough time bringing in more players. And EA, obviously they're in the business to bring in more players. And even for myself, as somebody who enjoys the franchise, I would like to find new ways to play it, because obviously to me, like capping flags, I mean, I've been capping flags for 20 years, and that's probably one of my biggest gripes in FPS shooters nowadays, is just I feel like I'm always just capping a flag or planting a bomb. Like I do kind of want to have some sort of change, and I would like to see hopefully the next game, obviously, like I said, keep that same formula, but find new ways to enhance that and make it even funner without trying to stray too far away like they tried to do with this game. Even though this game, they didn't even really add nothing new in terms of the gameplay loop. They just thought that they could do something that, oh, how can we enhance it? But it didn't really work. They didn't actually like really bring anything truly innovative. Like adding more players and making bigger maps is not really that innovative. But what I would like to see next, honestly, at this point, I would be okay if they just dropped 2 more seasons at the current rate of 1 map per season. Just to hold the fan base over until the next year when the new Battlefield comes out, which I would assume would be next year at the end of 2024 based off the timeline of the past. I mean, it's about a 2-year window, which was about the same as Battlefield 5. So if I had to guess, next Battlefield would probably be around this time next year, hopefully. Maybe we don't have to wait too much longer, as long as it's not rushed. But I would, considering this one's gonna last probably till the end of the year, then they're gonna do one in January to probably March, and then they drop one April. April holds you over to like June, July. At that point, they're probably promoting the new game if it's going to drop at end of 2024. I would be okay if they just dropped 2 more seasons, 1 map. Would I have liked for them to drop 4 maps per season or 3 maps per season, or shit, even 2 maps per season? Yeah, would have been great. But I feel like the game is at this point where it's towards the end of its life cycle. They're already looking towards the new game. I'd rather just not waste the content for this game. I'd rather put it towards the next one, which could potentially be even better than this game. So that's kind of like my 2 cents on what I would like to see next. Just kind of keep up the standard rate. Give me like 2 more seasons. I don't think you should stop now. I think it is a little too late, because you do want to hold people over for a year. But if you could hold people over for, and have that last season end in or start in like July, I think that's good enough. But anyways, I do want to end it off with this question here. Have you guys gone back to Battlefield 2042? Do you guys enjoy it? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to the content if you want to see more gaming discussions, reviews, and just general thoughts on gaming in the FPS space. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.